So a few weeks ago, I released a video and it was about monk mode. I talked about going into monk mode and I got a lot of questions about that. So I thought I'd put out another part 2 here and talk about it a little bit more. So monk mode for me, it was in regards to heading out to one of my events where I was going to be on stage for 8 or 9 hours a day for 5 days straight. And the idea was that I really needed to peak for that. I needed to be at my absolute peak performance level, both physically and mentally and emotionally. And so monk mode for me was taking my normal habits that I have, the habits that allow me to perform in a super high level, and going even deeper with them. So things like diet, my nutrition, what I was being super clean about what I ate, about no alcohol, about exercise, getting even more on it with exercise, about working on my alignment so that my posture, my body was completely aligned, doubling down on my meditation, doubling down on my journaling. And so really what it was is about bringing myself into a peak state right ahead of an event that was going to take a lot out of me. And all those practices are things I do on a normal basis, but this is getting even more on it, just really nailing it. That was monk mode. I was becoming a monk for a few weeks ahead of the event. And really what this is about, I learned this from, I think, from athletics as much as anything. And it's this idea of periodization, it's called. And it's the idea that you can't be at an absolute peak state all the time. So as an athlete, especially like an endurance athlete, so like when I've trained for mountain bike races, and just to be clear, I'm not much of a mountain bike racer, but I've been in some races, specifically some very long races, some like 24 hours races and an ultra races where for me, the race was it wasn't about beating anyone, it was just about whether I could finish or not. The single speed world championships, that was a tough one that I really peaked for. And if you look at what the best athletes are doing, they're not like getting to a peak and maintaining a peak all year long, because no one can do that. So what it is, it's about looking at like, when is that really important race and how are you going to peak for that race? And that usually, I mean, it gets real deep. Usually there's a number of cycles where they train up, take a bit of a break, train back up, take a bit of a break, train back up, take a bit of a break. And then the final peak is right at that event, the most important event. If you even look at racers, and I'm sure this is for all kinds of endurance athletes, but if you look at the racers, like Lance Armstrong, when he was winning the Tour de France, it wasn't about, he wasn't winning every race of the year, he was focused just on the Tour. So the races leading up to it, he often wouldn't win because he was peaking for the Tour. And if you look at the people that are winning the Tour de France now, they usually make that their focus for the year. Or it's like an NBA athlete peaking for the playoffs. And so I think we all need to do that. We all need to look at like, what event? Is it going to be a launch? Is it going to be a live event? Is it going to be a webinar? Is it going to be some type of promotion? Is it going to be a live broadcast? What do you need to peak for? And then how are you going to get there? What practices, what habits, what things are going to do to get there? Because you can't maintain an absolute peak state. So that idea of periodization is super critical for athletics, but I think it's critical for all of us. And you know what, it applies, it's one of those fractal things where it applies on multiple levels. So you can look at it even, so I'm doing it for an event, right? I do it a few times a year for an event. But I also do it within a month. And in fact, I do it within a day. So I'll have a day, it will set up for a certain period where I want to be super productive. Usually for me, it's in the morning. So it'll be my morning ritual will set me up to be super productive during those 2 or 3, 4 hours where I want to be super productive. So it's one of these deals where it applies yearly, it applies seasonally, it might apply per month, definitely applies per week, and it could even apply per day. What I'm talking about is being intentional and setting yourself up to be at your peak and most successful at the times when you need to be. So I'm Jeff Walker. Think about the periodization. Scroll down, leave a comment for me, and let's go get them this week.